She shook her head, stepping back. You lied to me, Minho. You made me believe we still had a future. You told me you were ready to marry. But it wasn't me. His voice broke. It was supposed to be. Until that night. Minyong's hand slammed against the desk. Don't you dare blame her. Minho turned, fury and pain colliding. Why? Because you want her now. Neither spoke. The truth sat between them, alive, dangerous. Audrey stepped between them, trembling. Stop. Both of you. Minyong's voice was low, deadly calm. Leave my office. Minho's lips curled. You always wanted what's mine, didn't you? Minyong didn't flinch. No, I never wanted what's yours. Only what you take for granted. That was the moment everything broke. Minho's fist connected with his brother's jaw, the sound echoing through glass walls. Audrey gasped, rushing forward, but Minyong caught his brother's arm mid-swing, his voice steel. Don't ever show up here again. Security appeared seconds later, but Minho shrugged them off, his voice shaking. This isn't over, he spat. You can keep your company, Minyong, but you won't keep her. When the doors closed behind him, silence filled the room, except for Audrey's trembling breath. Minyong wiped a trickle of blood from his lip, his expression unreadable. Are you all right? He asked quietly. She stared at him, tears brimming. You shouldn't have done that. He looked at her, something dark flickering in his gaze. You have no idea what I'm willing to do to protect you. And she realized, with a cold, sinking certainty, that the war between the brothers had only just begun. 2 days. That's all it took for a private argument to explode into a public disaster. The headlines came first. Billionaire twins in boardroom brawl, a woman between them? Foreign employee linked to MJ Group's family feud. 10 years of love ends in a scandalous mistake. By the time Audrey arrived at work, her photo, blurry, unflattering, taken from somewhere outside the building, was plastered across gossip blogs and business forums alike. The story had spread like wildfire through Seoul's upper circles. She felt eyes following her everywhere she went, whispers trailing behind her like smoke. That's her, someone murmured. The American girl. Imagine being caught between those two. Her hands trembled as she clutched her ID card, her pulse loud in her ears. Minyong's assistant, a sharp-eyed woman named Somin, approached with a calm she didn't feel. Mr. Minyong wants to see you. Now. Audrey followed her to the top floor, her heart hammering. When the elevator opened, she saw him standing by the window, his suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, phone pressed to his ear. No, we're not issuing a statement, he said coldly. And no one outside legal speaks to the press. Understood. He hung up and turned, eyes dark, jaw set. Sit, he said quietly. Audrey obeyed. You've seen the headlines. She nodded. They're everywhere. I can control business rumors, he said, pacing slowly. But personal ones, he stopped, exhaling through his teeth. They spread like poison. Her voice shook. They think I'm sleeping with you. He looked at her. Are you? Her cheeks flushed. You know I'm not. Then stop caring what they think, he said sharply. She stood, anger flaring. That's easy for you to say. You're rich, powerful, untouchable. But for me, this means no one will ever take me seriously again. He turned to face her fully. You didn't do anything wrong. Didn't I? She shot back, her voice breaking. I came here for love, and somehow I ended up destroying 2 brothers. And now I'm the villain in every headline. Minyong's expression softened, but only slightly. You didn't destroy us, Audrey. You just made us tell the truth. Which truth? She whispered bitterly. That you can't stand him? Or that you can't stop looking at me? Silence. The words hung in the air, dangerous, trembling, real. Minyong's jaw flexed. He stepped closer, his voice low. Be careful what you accuse me of. Her heart thudded painfully. Why? Because you don't want to admit it? He stared at her. Too long, too hard. Then he turned away, breaking the spell. You're being moved to another floor, he said curtly. New team, different department. It's safer that way. She swallowed. You're transferring me? It's for your protection. No, she said quietly. It's because you don't trust yourself. He froze, eyes flashing. Watch your tone. But her anger wouldn't stop. You think I don't see it? You act like nothing happened. Like you're made of stone. But every time you look at me, you can't hide it. You feel it too. He closed the distance between them in 2 strides. Do you want me to admit it? He asked, voice low and dangerous. Do you want me to say that every time you walk into my office, I remember that night? That I can still taste your name when I try to forget you? Her breath caught. Then say it. He leaned closer. Too close, but didn't touch her. I won't, he said finally, his voice breaking on control. Because I can't afford to want you. A beat of silence stretched between them, trembling with everything unsaid. Then the door burst open. Sir. Somin rushed in, phone in hand, eyes wide. It's urgent. The press is downstairs. They say Minho is giving a live interview about the fight. Audrey's stomach dropped. Minyong's expression went cold. He wouldn't. He already is, Somin said breathlessly. And he's telling them everything. Minyong's voice turned to ice. Cancel my meetings. Send security downstairs. He turned to Audrey, his voice soft but firm. You're not leaving this office until I get back. Do you understand? She nodded numbly, watching him walk away. The man she shouldn't love, about to face the brother she shouldn't hate. And as the elevator doors closed behind him, Audrey whispered to herself, trembling, this war isn't just between brothers anymore. It's for me. Cameras flashed like lightning outside the MJ Tower. Journalists swarmed the plaza, their microphones raised high, their voices blending into a chaotic chorus of questions. The air was sharp with tension and curiosity, the kind of atmosphere that Seoul's media lived for. On every major channel, the live broadcast was the same. Exclusive interview, Minho Lang breaks silence on MJ scandal. Audrey watched from Minyong's office window, her heart pounding so loudly she could barely hear the TV. There he was, Minho, seated under the bright lights of a news studio, looking heartbreakingly calm. No bruises, no anger, just sadness in his eyes. The anchor leaned forward. Mr. Lang, there are rumors that your disagreement with your brother, CEO Minyong Lang, was over a woman. Would you like to confirm or deny this? Minho hesitated. A single muscle in his jaw twitched. Then he said softly, I'll confirm it. The room around Audrey seemed to disappear. The anchor's eyes widened. You're saying the rumors are true? Minho nodded slowly. Yes, but not in the way people think. The woman involved, she wasn't just anyone. She was someone I loved for a very long time. He paused, swallowing hard. 10 years. The anchor blinked. And your brother? Minho's lips curved bitterly. He made a mistake. Terrible one. But so did I. Audrey's knees felt weak. She gripped the edge of the desk, breath trembling. Are you saying, the anchor pressed, that your brother? Yes. Minho interrupted, voice steady but heavy with grief. My brother and the woman I loved spent a night together. By accident. But what happened afterward wasn't an accident. Because he chose to keep her in his life. To give her a job. To protect her. And maybe, just maybe he fell for her too. The studio went silent. Audrey's heart stopped. He had just told the entire country that both brothers were in love with her. Reporters outside the building shouted questions into microphones, their words echoing through the lobby below. Back in the office, Minyong stormed through the doors moments later, his usually calm expression replaced with thunder. Turn it off, he ordered. Somin fumbled with the remote, the screen going dark. Audrey stood frozen, unable to move. He told everyone. Minyong's fists tightened. He's desperate. He told them about me, she whispered, her voice breaking. He didn't even use my name, but everyone will know. I'll handle it, Minyong said sharply. You stay out of sight for now. She spun to face him, anger flaring. You can't just hide me like a secret, Minyong. That's exactly what got us here. His jaw clenched. You don't understand what's happening. This isn't just about feelings anymore. This is about legacy, family, reputation. She stepped closer, trembling. What about me? I'm the one being destroyed while you both fight over who gets to be right. He closed his eyes briefly, as though her words hit harder than any headline. Then, in a low voice, he said, You think I don't care? You think I haven't been fighting every day to keep your name out of the news? Her breath hitched. Then why does it feel like I'm the only one paying the price? Minyong stared at her, and then something in him cracked as he crossed the space between them in 3 long strides, his voice raw. Because you're the only one I can't control. Silence. The storm outside thundered as they stared at each other, the air thick with fury and something dangerously close to desire. Audrey's voice dropped to a whisper. Then stop trying to. He looked at her, and for the first time there was no distance, no walls, just exhaustion and truth. I can't, he said finally, because if I stop, I won't survive what comes next. The elevator dinged behind them. Somin appeared again, pale. Sir, the press found her picture. They're camped outside your building. They know her name. Audrey's chest tightened. Oh my God. Minyong turned toward the window, already strategizing. We'll release a statement, control the narrative. I'll tell them the relationship was professional. No, she said firmly. He turned back. Excuse me? Audrey's eyes blazed with tears and fire. No more lies, Minyong. Not for your company, not for your family, not even for me. If the story's going to destroy my name, it's going to destroy it with the truth. And before he could stop her, she grabbed her purse and walked out of his office, straight toward the flashing lights waiting downstairs. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime. But nothing about what waited outside was soft. Camera flashes exploded like fireworks. Microphones thrust forward. Shouts filled the air. A storm of voices competing to be heard. Miss Audrey Wilson, are you the woman between the Min brothers? Did you cheat with Minyong while dating Minho? Are you staying in Korea? Her name, her real name, was on every reporter's lips now. Just hours ago, she'd been invisible. Now she was a headline. Audrey froze for half a second at the bottom of the steps, the November air biting through her blouse. She could see herself reflected in the camera lenses. Wide eyes, trembling lips, and something inside her said no more hiding. She raised her chin, her heart pounded, but her steps were steady as she moved toward the press barricade. Miss Wilson, a woman shouted, pushing a microphone forward. Do you want to respond to Minho Min's confession? Audrey met her gaze and said, loud enough for every camera to catch. Yes, I do. The world went silent. She took a shaky breath, the kind that felt like stepping off a cliff, and began. I'm not here to defend what happened. I'm here to tell the truth. The crowd leaned in. Minho Min was my boyfriend for 10 years. We met in the US when we were both just kids with dreams bigger than our pockets. He was my boyfriend, or so I thought. Voice wavered, but she didn't stop. He told me we'd get married someday, that all I had to do was wait, and I did for 10 years. But when I came to Seoul to surprise him, I found out he was engaged to someone else. Gasps rippled through the reporters. Even the most jaded journalist lowered their pen for a moment. That night, I made a mistake. A painful, unforgettable mistake. I met someone I thought was him. They're twins, and I didn't know. But that doesn't excuse anything. I wish I could say I realized it right away. But I didn't. By the time I found out, it was too late. And with that, she turned and walked through the flashing lights, ignoring the barrage of questions chasing her name. Inside MJ Tower, Minyong watched the live broadcast from his office. Every word she said echoed in his chest, truth after truth that tore down the walls he'd built to protect her. He'd told himself she was fragile, that she needed him to manage things. But watching her stand before the nation, her voice trembling yet fierce, he realized something humbling. She didn't need saving. He did. Hours later, Audrey sat alone in her tiny apartment, the city lights outside her window. Her phone buzzed with thousands of messages. Hate, sympathy, curiosity, but she ignored them all. Then, a knock on her door. Two soft raps. Familiar. Careful. She opened it. Minyong stood there. No guards, no suit. Just him. Tired, sleepless, and real. Why are you here? She whispered. Because you just changed everything, he said softly. And I can't let you face it alone. And I was wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things. But if I could take every headline, every judgment, and carry it for you, I would. Her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. You can't fix this. No, he said gently. But maybe I can help you rebuild. For a moment, silence hung between them. Then she whispered, And your brother? Pain flickered across his face. He's not my enemy. But he's not the man I love either. Her breath caught. And who is? He stepped closer, his voice almost breaking. The one who never stopped thinking about you since that night. The one who's been waiting for you to forgive him, and maybe to love him. Audrey's eyes searched his face, her heart pounding with confusion and want. Minyong, I don't know if I can trust either of you again. He nodded, gaze steady. Then trust yourself. And if that leads you away from me, I'll still be grateful I met you. The sincerity in his tone broke her walls in a way nothing else had. She didn't reply, just closed the door gently, her hand trembling against the wood. But even after the lock clicked, she could still feel his warmth on the other side. Seoul's autumn air carried a chill that seemed to seep into Audrey's bones no matter how tightly she wrapped her coat around herself. Every time she saw a luxury car glide by, she feared it might be one of them. It had been weeks since the scandal, since her face was splashed across the tabloids as the American woman who destroyed the Kong twins. She had left the city, hiding away in Busan, trying to remember who she was before love became war. But she couldn't forget Minyong. Not the way he'd looked at her that night. Not the way he'd said her name, gently, as if he'd known her forever. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number, please. Just one conversation. You owe me that much. Her chest tightened. She didn't need to ask who it was. Meanwhile, across Seoul, Minho sat in his dark office overlooking the Han River. His reflection stared back at him. Polished suit, perfect tie, but eyes hollowed. On his desk lay a wedding invitation he had torn in half. He couldn't stop thinking about her. How she'd refused him for 10 years. How she'd given herself, freely, to his twin. And yet, the more he hated her, the more he wanted her. You still love her? Minyong's voice echoed from the memory of their last argument. Maybe he did. But love was no longer enough. Audrey met Minyong that evening in a quiet rooftop cafe above the harbor. He looked tired. Not from guilt, but from longing. I shouldn't have come, she said softly. Then why did you? She looked down at her cup. Because I can't stop thinking about what happened. He reached across the table, his hand brushing hers. Neither can I. Their eyes met. And in that brief, electric silence, everything they tried to bury came rushing back. But before she could speak, a familiar voice cut through the night. Of course you can't, Minho said from behind them. Both turned. He stood there, tall, furious, heartbreak and arrogance tangled in his eyes. I see the guilt didn't last long, Minho sneered. What's next? Matching rings. Stop, Audrey whispered, rising. Don't do this here. You should have thought of that before you ran to him. Minyong stood, protective now. Don't talk to her like that. You took everything from me, Minho shouted, his voice cracking. My woman, my pride, my peace. You were never ready to keep her. Minyong shot back. The cafe went quiet. Even the air seemed to freeze. Audrey's heart pounded in her chest. Both of you, stop. I can't keep living like this. But they didn't hear her. This wasn't about her anymore. It was about everything they'd been compared for their whole lives: power, success, and now love. That night, she left both brothers on that rooftop, one burning with pride, the other aching with guilt, and walked into the Seoul night with tears streaking down her face. Because for the first time, she realized she was no longer sure who she was angry with. the man who betrayed her, or the man who made her feel alive after the betrayal. The Busan Grand Charity Gala glittered like a scene from a dream, chandeliers dripping in gold, strings playing softly in the background, champagne bubbling in every glass. It was supposed to be an elegant night for Seoul's elite, but no one knew that before it ended. The entire city would be whispering the same name. Audrey Wilson. When she stepped into the ballroom, heads turned her dress. A deep emerald satin that hugged her curves and shimmered against her skin was simple yet breathtaking. She walked with quiet confidence, though her heart pounded beneath her ribs. She had promised herself no drama, no brothers, no headlines. Just one peaceful night, but fate had other plans. Across the room, Minho Lang watched her from the upper balcony, glass in hand, eyes cold and calculating. He wasn't just there to see her. He was there to reclaim her. His father's words still burned in his head. Control your mess, Minho. The Lang family name cannot afford a scandal, so he would control it, even if it meant controlling her. Then the elevator doors opened, and Minyong Lang walked in, sharp in a black suit, his dark hair swept back, his gaze locked instantly on her. He hadn't planned to come, but when he heard Minho would be there, he couldn't stay away. For weeks, he'd tried to let her go, but the thought of her standing alone, surrounded by his brother's world, made his blood run hot. If he touches her tonight, Minyong muttered under his breath, I'll burn this place down. The orchestra swelled as the Lang brothers finally crossed paths, both staring at the same woman from opposite sides of the ballroom. Audrey felt it point two pairs of eyes, point two very different kinds of gravity. Minho approached first, smile perfectly rehearsed for the cameras. Audrey, he said smoothly, offering his hand. You look magnificent. She hesitated, glancing around, the press, the donors, the family executives. Everyone watching. Minho, please, she whispered. Not here. Why not? He said softly, the smile still on his lips. Let them see the woman I love. You have a fiancé, she snapped under her breath. His smile didn't falter. Not anymore. Her heart stuttered. You broke it off? For you. Before she could respond, a voice behind them cut through the music like a blade. That's a lie. She turned. Minyong. The room stilled. Conversations hushed. Cameras angled. Minyong's expression was unreadable, but his tone was steady, calm. You didn't end it for her. You ended it because father forced you to. You've been trying to win her back to fix your image, not your heart. Minho's jaw tightened. Careful, brother. This isn't your place. It became my place the moment you ruined hers. Gasps rippled through the guests. Even the reporters were frozen, not daring to blink. Audrey stepped between them, her voice low and trembling. Please, both of you. Not here. But it was too late. Years of rivalry, in business, in love, in everything, burst to the surface. You were always jealous, Minho hissed. Always waiting for me to slip so you could take what's mine. And you were always too blind to see when something wasn't yours to keep. Minyong shot back. The orchestra faltered. The lights seemed to flicker. Dozens of cameras flashed. And in that moment, surrounded by Seoul's elite, the world saw the Lang brothers fighting over one woman. Audrey's breath came fast as she realized what was happening. She turned and walked away, head high, eyes glistening, through the crowd that parted like water. But as she reached the exit, Minyong caught up to her, his hand gently catching her wrist. Audrey, wait. She turned, tears burning behind her lashes. You shouldn't have done that. I couldn't watch him use you again. Now everyone knows, she whispered. They'll never stop talking about us. He looked at her, not as the woman caught in a scandal, but as the woman who had stolen his peace. Then let them talk. By the next morning, every headline in Korea read the same. Lang brothers love war. American woman between billionaire heirs. The morning after the gala felt like waking into someone else's nightmare. Audrey sat on the edge of her hotel bed, the city skyline framed behind her. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Headlines, calls, notifications, all screaming the same thing. Lang brothers' love triangle. Foreign mistress or victim? Minho's fiancé speaks out. She buried her face in her hands, her reflection in the mirror. The same woman she'd always been. Now looked like a stranger painted in scandal. Meanwhile, at the Lang estate, the air was razor sharp. The brothers hadn't spoken since the night before. The family's patriarch, Chairman Lang Dae-hyun, sat at the long oak table, flanked by advisors and publicists, his face carved in disappointment.
Find out what happens in their relationship in the next episode, which is coming up soon, by clicking on the notification icon. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also tell us the country you are watching us from in the comments section so that we will make a story for you.